Happy Monday, everyone. We got a fun work set coming at you. It's going to take place every 5 minutes. So hopefully we got some built-in rest along the way today. So what we got for you guys coming up? We got a plank to down dog for 3 to 5 reps. Forearm plank to dolphin, 3 to 5. Prone shoulder raise, 6 to 10 alternating reps. Arch hold with swimmer stretch for 5 reps. And we'll go over that. 2 different ways to take that down. It's a cool little movement. We got 2 rounds. We'll take it down to the next phase, which is, again, prepping the core and the shoulders a little bit more. Laying pro and retraction for 5 aside. Executed at a very slow, steady state for that. Into a weighted dead bug of 10 alternating. And then a humeral glide to knee push-up for 3 to 5 reps. 2 to 3 rounds. Taking that down, seeing where it takes us. All right? After that, we're going to give you guys a practice round. That'll be on the bottom of the workout description. You can use that. You can make your own. Whatever you need to do to get yourself prepped up and ready for this work set, please take that down and get yourself ready to go. So, the work set. What's the work set? We have every 5 minutes. We have 4 rounds of work in total. So 20 minutes total of work set today. Push-up of 20, pull-over for 10. Then we move into our dumbbell hang power clean, 10 alternating reps. So we're living with 1 dumbbell today. And then a renegade row of 10 alternating reps. Once you're done that, we are going to rest. We're going to take that time, chill, rest, recover, and then move on to the next phase of work, which is another round. So you take that down, trying to keep all of your rounds roughly about the same time frame if you can. So we want to try and get the same amount of rest every single round we got, or within a couple seconds. So let's get you ready, let's get you warm, let's have some fun today. All right, we got our feet under our hips. We're going to take the arms up big and tall overhead. We're going to stretch to one side. We're going to come back up and over, reaching to the other side. Come back up, a little shrug overhead. We'll come down with the shoulders. We're going to scratch our back with both hands. Ribs are in. Let's reach up with the right arm, come back down. Reach up with the left arm, back down. Up with the right, down, up with the left, and down. Up with the right, and down, and up with the left, and back down. Let's take the arms up overhead, little reach to one side, little side bend, little reach to the other side. We'll come back down, forward fold, touching those toes. We'll walk up the shins. We'll come all the way down, framing the foot. We'll step it back into our lizard. From here, we'll take that inside hand all the way up. We're going to rotate forearm to the floor. We'll come back up, big stretch, and rotate forearm to the floor. And again, big stretch, and rotate forearm to the floor. Big reach up, plant the hand, we'll step back into our down dog, reaching those hips high, walk those heels out, nice and slow, nice and steady, nice and slow again, walking those feet out, come back into our plank, we'll step the other foot up, nice and square in those hips, we'll take the inside hand all the way up, and we'll rotate. Forearm to the floor. We'll come back up and rotate, forearm to the floor, and back up and rotate, forearm to the floor. Come back up one more time, we'll plant that hand, we'll step back with that front foot into that down dog. Reaching those hips, let's walk the heels, nice and slow, just waking up our feet a bit. We'll come back into our plank, tiptoe those feet up, and we'll roll ourselves up, big stretch. Big reach, big reach. Good, we'll come back down. Let's get you guys fired up. All right, now, what we got going on for you guys today, if you'd like to pause the video a little bit, you can. Do some more gentle warm-up. Take that down for yourselves. If you're ready to go, let's come back in, join me. We're gonna work on a little bit of core and shoulder work. All right, we're gonna start our day off today with a little bit of plank to down dog. So again, a good opportunity to work on that good shoulder engagement, that good position as we get ourselves set up in that plank, pulling those ribs in, pushing those shoulders to the sky. Let's pull the hips back as we soften the shoulders, roll the shoulders around the body, softening the ankles and the knees. We'll come back into that plank, pulling those ribs in and pushing those shoulders up to the sky. So we set that good shoulder position as we come into that plank. Or, if you have a hard time doing that on the move, just come back into your plank, pull the ribs, press the shoulders, and make sure we're setting and checking on those shoulders every single rep. Just to make sure that we're building that engagement into that nice set position for the shoulder. It's almost like we're locking the shoulder into place, maintaining that good shoulder position and stability as we go overhead in the down dog. From here, we're going to continue working on that similar motion, but it's going to be a little more stressful on the triceps and those lats. So we're going to go from forearm plank to dolphin. So now we're going to come in. If you'd like to do a few cat-cow curls in between this, you can. But we're going to bring our forearms down to the ground. Elbows stacked under the shoulder. We're going to push into the floor with those forearms. We're going to get ourselves into that forearm plank. So we're activating through the upper back. We're pulling the ribs in. And from here, we're going to pull the hips high and back. And if you need to, you can step your feet in a little closer to get that nice hip angle. So our armpits are pointing towards our toes. We're pushing those armpits back towards the feet, and we get that good position, and then we come back into our plank. So we're really focusing on that same engagement that we were doing in our down dog, except we're on our forearms. So you may find you're limited in your range here, and that's okay. But we want to make sure that we're giving ourselves the best opportunity to get to that high hip position. So soften those knees a little bit, soften those ankles, and just take it to where you feel comfortable. From here, we're going to lay on our stomach, and we're going to go through our prone shoulder raise. So we're going to get ourselves nice and extended. Toes are together. Pull the ribs in. Armpits press down towards the floor, and I'm going to press my hands into the ground as well. From here, I'm going to keep this position of my shoulder, and I'm going to lift one arm, keeping the body still and focusing on maintaining that position. I'm going to press into the ground. I'm going to lift to that left arm, and then press that arm into the ground as I maintain that tension as I lift the other arm. So I'm always making sure that my core is engaged, my shoulders are active, and I'm moving that arm, not until I have that other arm securely fastened into the floor. It just allows us to really make sure we're solid in that position. Our last movement in this work set is a challenging one. We're going to go into our arch hold with swimmer stretch. So what we're going to do here is we're going to come into this position, and we are going to squeeze and lift into our arch hold. From here, we're going to take the arms around into this nice extended position. From here, we can take one hand to the back, come back up, other hand to the back, come back up, or we can work on both arms coming to the back, back up. We come back around, and then we lower down. It's a very challenging movement set, but I want you guys to keep in mind that if you can't get your top of the hand to the low back, that's okay. What I want you guys to think about is maintaining that nice solid arch. So we're working through that arch, toes together, everything solid. And as we pull our hands back around, we hit that nice laying arm extension first. Then we just take those hands to where we can. So we're pulling the hands almost together, and we're also trying to maintain that upward pressure. So we're pressing up, and we're pressing up, and then we hit that position, and we come back to that arm extension position and come back around. So it's very challenging. There's a lot going on. So if you're looking at that going, whoa, Dave, what are you thinking? Single arm at a time. Single arm will allow you a little bit more freedom. It won't be as stressful through the pecs and the chest and the arm. So just give yourself one arm at a time. Just keeping in mind, one, that's one rep. Okay? Then we come back. I would suggest resting in between each rep, just so you can reset that arch and maintain that good position while we do the swimmer stretch. As a quick recap, we have a plank to down dog for 3 to 5, forearm plank to dolphin, 3 to 5, prone shoulder raise, 6 to 10, alternating, arch hold with swimmer times 5, and then we're going to take that down for 2 rounds. We're going to continue moving into that upper body and core a little bit more. So pause the video, take down those first 2 rounds of that work set, come join me, we're going to get a dumbbell involved, and get those cores heated up. Okay, our next phase of work is going to consist of us laying on the floor and or on our stomach again. So I'm going to get myself laying down just like I would if I was going to do a floor press. So in this floor press position, my feet are flat, but this time I'm going to pull my ribs in so I have contact with my low back and the floor. My arm is going to be extended at the top of a floor press movement, and my shoulder's gonna be in contact with the ground for now. My arm is straight, my ribs are in, and what I'm gonna do is I'm gonna push the dumbbell up to the ceiling, bringing my shoulder off the ground, and now maintaining the straight arm, I'm gonna pull my shoulder back into the ground. And you'll notice how slow I'm moving through this work set. I'm moving nice and smooth through this press, and nice and smooth through that pull. So I'm pulling back into the floor, and I'm pressing up through that shoulder blade. I'm not pushing so high that I'm rotating. I'm not trying to get up like a Turkish get up. I'm just priming up that scapula, just enough, kind of like a scap push-up, okay, but with a load. Once I've done my 5 reps, I'll do it on the other side and continue on. My next exercise I'm going to play with is a weighted dead bug. So I'm going to take the dumbbell over top of my chest. I'm going to push it up into that active protraction. I'm going to hold it here in this position. My feet are going to come up into my dead bug position, and I can do this one of 2 ways with my lower body. I can extend it like a normal dead bug. I can come back in, or I can keep my legs slightly bent, touch the floor, come back in. Now, it really depends on your ability to keep your low back into the floor, whether or not you straighten or keep your leg bent. So I want you to make sure you're paying attention to that low back, make sure it's in contact, and we're not starting to get that arch through the low back. We keep those ribs in, keep it nice and tight. Now, the other thing we can play with this is the orientation of the dumbbell. So if I feel like I've got pretty good shoulders, pretty good range, I can take my dumbbell slightly behind my shoulders. And I'm going to hold it here as I work through that same position and back and forth, okay? So you can play around with that if you like, experiment. And the loading here is really going to depend on how comfortable you are in that locked out overhead position. So play with it, have some fun with it. You don't necessarily need to use a weight right off the hop. You could use a foam roller just to get the sensation. You could just use your arms straight ahead and just working on those lower bodies. So have some fun with it, play with it, see which one you like the best, and see where you want to go with your loading. Now our last movement today in this work set is our humeral glide to knee push-up. So we're going to lay on our stomach. I'm going to bring my feet together. My hands are going to come back into my chest, just outside my shoulders. And I'm going to pull my shoulders forward where I don't want them in the push-up. I'm going to pull them back to where I do. My elbows are stacked over my wrist. I pull my ribs and hips in. I push to that nice knee plank, pressing through the shoulders, keeping the hands under the shoulders and those ribs in. From here, on the way down, I'm going to keep those elbows at about a 45. I'm going to lower forward and down, maintaining that good position and that good tripod. So what we're looking for again in this position is to create kind of like an arrow. So the tip of my head is the top of the arrow, the ends of my elbows are those corner pieces, and my arms are about a 45 degree. We want to keep the arm at about a 45 degree because that's going to help us recruit as much musculature as we can to support the shoulder in that press. So really take the time to feel those positions, feel that shoulder and that good push, and if you feel comfortable, you can add in a 3-second lower, keeping that tempo a little slower to build more strength. As a quick recap, we have our plank, protraction, retraction for 5 aside, weighted dead bug for 10 alternating reps, humeral glide to knee push-up for 3 to 5, 2 to 3 rounds, working on those skills, waking up the core, and then we're going to move into a practice round. So pause it, rock it, come back. We're going to go over the movements in our workout, get you guys fired up and ready to go. All right, let's do this. We got the movements in our workout we have coming up. We have a push-up, we have a pullover, dumbbell hang power clean, and a renegade row. So we're only using one dumbbell today. We're going to alternate back and forth with this dumbbell, and we'll have some fun with that. So our first exercise is the push-up, and it's got some high volume. So if you're looking at that going, whoa, that's okay. I'm going to give you some options and give you an opportunity to play with some reps that suit you the best. But for now, our push-up variations. You can go off an ottoman, you can go off the back of a chair, you can go off the countertop, whatever you need to use in terms of that push-up, please rock it. But I'm going to show you 3 different variations from the floor. Now, we have our full push-up from the toe, which is a straight leg, arms are straight locked out, shoulders pressing to the sky, and my ribs are pulled in. I'm going to lead forward and down, touching my chest, coming back up to that nice plank position. Now with that position, I'm really working on focusing on that maintaining of the core and that strong forward and down, keeping my elbow stacked over my wrist. Just like we did in our humeral glide to knee push-up drill. Our next variation is I have the strength to lower down in one piece, but I don't quite have the strength to push up through my toes. So what I'm going to do, maintaining my core position and integrity, I'm going to lower down, lower my knees, push up, finish the rep on my toes. Lower, knees, toes. Now what we need to focus on here is maintaining our core position. It's very challenging, especially when we drop our knees, because when we drop our knees, our mind is going to be like, oh, I can disengage. But we can't. We have to pretend that we're not dropping our knees mentally so that we keep that core just as tight as it was when I was lowering down to the ground without that knee help. So really focus on that core position on that one specific. Our last exercise or variation is our knee push-up. But I'd like you to set this up via the toes first. So you're going to establish your good plank position. So we're nice and set and tight. Once we've found that good plank, we're going to lower our knees straight down. And I'm in the top of my humeral glide to knee push-up drill. From here, I lower forward and down, I push up, and I work on those same key points that I've been trying to build throughout my work set in my humeral glide to knee push-up drill. So really focusing on that good 45 degree, keeping the ribs in, wrist underneath of the elbow, really focusing on those positions. Now our next exercise is the dumbbell pullover. All right, so we have a couple variations of this in terms of how to hold the dumbbell. From here, I'm going to get myself down, just like we did earlier in that protraction, retraction, except I'm going to hold the dumbbell by the bell, or I'm going to hold the dumbbell by the bells. Now, holding it by the bells this way, horizontal, is going to give me a little bit more range of motion down to the floor. So we need to pick the variation that we like the best for us. So we're going to keep soft elbows. We're going to push into that dumbbell a little bit. Pull our ribs in so we have a nice stable midline, and we're going to take those dumbbells down behind, down to the floor, keeping the arms straight and back up. Whole arm moves as one and come back up. Now again, the only difference between that and holding the bells is going to be the range of motion. So holding it by both bells, I have a little bit more range that allows me to explore that shoulder just a bit more. So I want you guys to really make sure that you're only going as far as you feel comfortable and you can maintain a good position for the shoulder. Now, our exercise that comes up next is one we do quite often. It's a hang power clean. We're going to alternate with this dumbbell back and forth. So what we're going to do, you can take the dumbbell from the outside of the thigh or you can take it from between the feet. It's up to you on that. But we do single leg stuff. I tend to like to come to between because it kind of feels more like that dumbbell snatch. All right, you kind of have a good flow with it and it works. But if you're more comfortable taking it to the side and up the side, I'm also fine with that as well. That's totally legit. Personal preference. Now with what we're doing though, the flow of the body and the position of the dumbbell in terms of orientation to the body is the same. So I'm going to do one of each, one from the side and one from between. I take myself down to the knee. So I'm going to do a hang position from the knee. I'm going to push through those legs, pulling that dumbbell into my shoulder, and I'm going to pull into that front rack position. I come down, switch sides, and move into the next rep, and set myself up well. Yeah, you notice how far the dumbbell got away from me. Not very far at all. It travels up the side of my body. Now it's the same thing if I go between my knees. I take the dumbbell into that good hinge position. My weight is through my midfoot. I push through my legs. The dumbbell comes up the front, but it stays close. I come back down, other side, and I stand up tall. So I'm not letting the dumbbell escape like a dumbbell or kettlebell swing. I'm keeping it right up the front of my body so I can control that momentum and pull underneath of it well. Now our next exercise is the Renegade Row. And we talked about a way to do this with a single dumbbell last time. I'm just going to show you on the floor facing the camera for a second. So the dumbbell's gonna go in between my hands, and my hands are gonna be underneath my shoulders. My feet are gonna be a little wider, kind of a straddle, so squat stance are wider. I'm gonna shift my weight to one side, take hold of the dumbbell, pull it to the rib, keeping the elbow tight to the body, put the hand down, shift, pull, shift, pull, shift, pull. You're gonna work on just shifting your weight, executing that nice row, keeping that elbow nice and tight to the body. All right, so we don't want it to go up and out. We want to think straight back in, almost like you're throwing that good pumpernickel, that nice elbow pump. All right, so we're taking your time with that. We're just gonna shift our weight, take hold. Shift our weight, take hold. And we're just gonna use that same dumbbell that we've been using throughout the workout. Now, with this work set, if you have multiple multiple dumbbells at home, you can play around with some different loads for the Renegade Row, the pullover, and the clean. If you only have one, we're gonna take the time to do it well with that single dumbbell, all right? So we'll have some fun with this one. Now, how this workout works, you're gonna set a clock timer for 5 minutes. You'll do this for 4 rounds, so it's 20 minutes in total. 3, 2, 1, go. You do 20 push-ups, then 10 pullovers, 10 alternating hang power cleans, and then 10 alternating Renegade rows. From that, you'll rest with whatever time frame you have left over in that 5-minute chunk, and then you'll get ready to do it again. Now, in that 5-minute time period, if you have, say, a minute or 2 minutes of rest, take advantage of that rest. Use it to breathe, let yourself kind of get settled down so you can take that work set down at the same time frame that it took you to get done. I'm excited for this work set, you guys. I love these little interval work pieces because we get that kind of push to go quick and then to get that good solid rest. So take advantage, have some fun, work those intervals, and we'll see you tomorrow for some more fun work sets. As always, you guys, work for quality, have tons of fun. We'll see you tomorrow. Bye, you guys.